Hey y'all, so I'm here today to test out a application method that Melissa Poepping recently shared on her Savvy Mess Facebook page. She shared a video where she used a sort of modified baking method to get full coverage on her face. And the reason that I was intrigued was not just the full coverage, because y'all know I need full coverage, but because she said it actually used less product than applying it the traditional way. Now, I'm all about using less product because my two-step foundation process to get the full coverage that I need because of my rosacea does use a bit more product than the average person would. So if I can use less, I'm going to be all about that. However, after watching her application method, I was extremely skeptical as to the using less product claims. So I'm here to test it out to see if it actually uses less product than what I've been doing. Two, if the coverage is better than what I was getting. And three, how it holds up throughout the course of the day. I've already applied the first step of this, as you can see, but I will show you how I did it in just a second. And then I'll come back at the end of the day and give you my thoughts on how it held up. I have a pretty busy day today, so it'll be a really good test of its wear time. Okay, so hold on to your butts. You're about to see my bare face. Okay, so here we go. So the first step that I'm going to do for this full coverage routine that's recommended by Melissa Poepping is I'm going to prime my face. And I just have my DIY serum, which I will be sharing soon, I promise. Gotten a lot of requests for that. I say serum. It is, but it's not a traditional serum. Traditional serums are meant to go under moisturizer and just have a lot of really good skincare ingredients. And I basically combined moisturizing stuff with some good stuff for my skin and just to give a good hydrating base for this foundation. Okay, the next step that she recommends is you take a sponge and you dip it into a generous amount of the minerals, and it basically coats your sponge. I didn't wet the sponge or anything. And this is the part that I'm skeptical about because I don't really see how this is actually using less foundation. But here we go. So I'm just gonna pat it across my face in the areas where I need extra coverage. I'm gonna basically just make a mask over my face, lightly patting it over the areas where you need the most help. I'm gonna add a little bit over here where I get some redness too. Okay, so as you can see for me, basically my whole face. Concentrating mainly in the center of the face, but my rosacea also, ooh, ugh, ew. Don't get the foundation on your mouth. Ugh. For most rosacea, people with rosacea, it's really just like the mask of the face, like in this kind of area right here. But I also have redness, a lot of redness on my chin. I get a lot of redness up here and also along my jawline. So I've basically covered my entire face with a layer of the minerals. It was a lot of minerals. Again, not sure how this is going to use less product than I used with my other two-step method, but yeah, okay. So I'm gonna actually try a little bit under my eyes because Melissa did. I've been struggling using the Savvy Minerals as concealer because as with every other area of my face, my under eye is extremely problematic. So we will see how this works. Okay, I'm gonna let this sit and then we'll move on to step 2. Okay, so I just went ahead and did some of my other makeup while I was waiting for this to sit. It's been about 10 or 12 minutes on my face. Next step that Melissa recommends is going in with a bit of misting spray on your brush and focusing primarily on the areas where you you need the coverage, and then also blending it into any parts of your face that you did not use the baking method for. So here we go. Dipping into minerals, tapping off, and then I'm gonna go in. Okay, it looks like it is separating. Probably not the best result here. Yep, it's separating right there. Okay, maybe my brush was too wet. I'll just spray it one time. One time. Okay, so it definitely is full coverage, but it's very matte, very, very matte. And if you like a matte foundation, then you're good. I don't. We'll see once it like continues to set into my skin and after I've sprayed it with the misting spray and all that, if that settles down a little bit. I'm still not convinced that I've used less product to achieve this look. So I feel like I used quite a bit of product for this. Less than I would use for the tinted moisturizer, and then touching up with the minerals, and actually I'm still seeing a little bit of redness right there peeking through. And here. I would say if you try this, only mist your brush once, because if it's too wet, then it'll start to separate what you've already laid down, and you don't want that. I'm going to finish up the rest of my makeup and go about my day, and I will check in later on and let you know how it's going. Okay, so I am back. It has been about 8 or 9 hours since I put this on my face, and I'm gonna let you know what I think. As I said in the beginning of the video, I am evaluating this based on 3 claims that Melissa made in her video. And that is, number 1, that this uses less product than applying it the traditional way. Number 2, that you get maximum coverage using this technique. And number 3, whether or not it holds up over the course of a long day. Number 1, does this use less product than applying it the traditional way? I don't think so. At least not for me. Now again, my coverage needs, her coverage needs, your coverage needs, they're going to be different. But just judging from my experience applying this the traditional way, which is spraying your brush with misting spray and going in the minerals and just layering it on until you get the coverage that you want, or the method that I've been using, which is creating a sort of tinted moisturizer and then just adding additional coverage, spraying the brush, dipping in the minerals, and so on. This method, I don't think uses less product. I think it uses more product than I have been using previously. So on that count, I don't agree. On the second count regarding coverage, it does have really, really good coverage. And I'm looking up close in a mirror, and yeah, the coverage is at least as good, if not better, in some instances or in some places than what I had previously been doing. So the coverage is really wonderful. I can't complain about that at all. Point 3, the longevity. I've had this on for 8 or 9 hours, and I was out in the heat a little bit. I held my 9-month-old nephew who was like pawing at my face for a while. And again, looking up close in a mirror here, it's looking pretty good. I'm losing a little bit on my chin, but that happens. Like, that is the first place that I lose foundation, is my chin. But my nose looks really good. I would say my cheeks look a little heavy, not cakey, but a little heavier than they normally do. Overall, I would say the coverage is really nice. The finish is really nice. One of the things that I mentioned after I initially applied this was that it looked really matte, and I don't like a matte foundation. But once it settled into my skin a bit more, I'm happy with this finish. It's a nice finish. It's not too matte. It's not too dewy. I'm really enjoying that. If I ever did this again, I would probably go a little bit lighter on the cheeks with the initial baking step, because it is looking a bit too heavy for me there, but that could just be application on my part. One thing that I will say though, the baking method worked really nicely on my under eye area. So if I did this method again, I probably wouldn't do it for my whole face, but I definitely will try it again for my under eye area, because an issue that I was having with trying to make a concealer with the minerals and the misting spray or jojoba oil or the rose ointment or any of the other things that I've tried, either it was too emollient and it would fall into all the creases and I'd look terrible, or it would get too dry and I would look like an 80-year-old woman in my under eye area. Neither one of those are optimal, but this is working really nicely. So I will be giving this another test again to see if, you know, I can duplicate that. Overall, I really like the coverage, except for how I went a little ham on my cheeks, I guess. I love that it held up throughout a long day. So not complaining about how it looks, about how it covers, about how it lasts, just that I would wind up using more foundation than I have been using already, which is significant. So yeah, on that score, I probably won't do it for my whole face again, but I definitely will for my under eye, because that is looking really good even after, you know, 8 or 9 hours. So those are my thoughts on the baking method that Melissa Poepping shared on her Savvy Mess page. I hope that you found this helpful. If so, please give this a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I would really love that. If you are already a Young Living member and you have not gotten your hands on Savvy Minerals makeup yet, what are you waiting for, girl? Put some on your next DR order and get that stuff to your house. You will not regret it. If you're not already a Young Living member, I would love to help you get some of this in your hands so you can savvy your face. And so if you're interested, just pop a comment down below or shoot me a message or something like that. I would love to chat with you about that. You can also find me on Facebook at Savvy Girls Guide or on Instagram at SavvyGirlsGuide_YL. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.